bit behind. We had a little bit of trouble getting Kat on the line, but we got her now. We caught the cat, as it were. So let's bring her on. Kat, what's up, girl? How are you doing,
Hi.
man? It's good to see you. How are you?
It's good to see you too. I'm doing well, thanks.
Man, thank you so much for coming here and being a part of Drummathon. I know we've had you on the beat a couple of times, and it's just really good to have you on a show with a broad audience to be able to tell your story about going through breast cancer. And you're a drummer, so it fits right in with Drummathon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Cool.
totally, man. Well, I always like to start off with each breast cancer survivor that I talk to about how this whole journey for you started. So everybody found their breast cancer in some different way, shape, or form. And tell the viewers here how you came to find that you had breast cancer.
Yeah, so mine's kind of a different tale than most people because a lot of people tend to find a lump in their breast, and that never happened for me. I'm from Arizona, and in the summertime, we spend a lot of time swimming in the pool. And so when you're in the water, like your skin gets cracked and dries out. And I, one summer, found a crack in my nipple. And because I'd been outside, I didn't really think anything of it. And I'd asked several of my girlfriends, I'd even asked my mom, and nobody really, it didn't send off any red flags for anyone. And finally I was talking to my best friend who is from Australia, and because of how they talk about breast cancer in Australia, it's a different narrative there than it is here. Here we're trained to look for lumps, but there the social narrative is look for lumps, cracks, and changes. And so the minute I said crack, she's like, you need to go get that checked out right away. And, she didn't want to scare me, but she's like, go get it looked at. So she sent me in, and I made an appointment with just my physician, who also didn't quite know what she was looking at, and said, let's go ahead and get a mammogram, just to, like, it might be a cyst or something. Let's check it out. So I took off work one Thursday to go get a mammogram and kind of see what was going on, not really expecting anything, and found out on my lunch break that I had breast cancer.
Wow, on your lunch break. That's
Yeah.
so. Were you out and about? Like, were you at a restaurant at that time?
No, I been working that morning
Uh huh.
and knew I had the appointment in the afternoon.
Right.
So I was just going to take an extended lunch. And I mean, I'd never had a mammogram before. I was, technically too young to get one. So
Right.
um, I didn't really know what I was in for.
How old were you again?
I was 39 when I was diagnosed.
Yeah, and if you heard Dr. O'Shaughnessy just now, she was saying that most women who are diagnosed with breast cancer are actually over 60, and that they do have some in younger ages, but definitely under 40 isn't very common. So that had to be scary. But your breast cancer, it was exactly what kind of breast cancer?
It was HER2 positive.
Right?
I
Yeah.
honestly can't remember. I when we've talked before, I've kind of mentioned chemo brain and how
Right.
that sort of
That's,
scrambles
I
you
mean,
like an
that's a for
egg.
sure deal. I mean, and for those watching that aren't familiar, yeah, I mean, chemo brain is like a real thing. It's like, your memory just doesn't work. It was like earlier today, I was trying to think of a word and I couldn't. I was in the middle of an interview with somebody and I was like, I can't think of the word, but it's like there is this kind of layer of fog that kind of sticks with you forever after you have chemo, and definitely call that chemo brain. But I think it's more common, you know, whenever people have something other than triple negative breast cancer, you don't always know if it's ER positive, PR positive, any of that stuff, because it doesn't make as big of a difference as if it was inflammatory breast cancer or triple negative breast cancer. Those are very different forms of breast cancer that are very, very aggressive, that you're kind of like, "Woot, woot," you know exactly
Yeah.
what kind you had. So after you were diagnosed with breast cancer, what happened next?
I handled it pretty methodically. I mean, you've got a lot of thoughts that race through your mind when you get diagnosed with breast cancer, and needing to handle children and the family and work. And I was in a band at the time, and so I kind of, systematically was going through the list of who all do I need to to share this with. And I got connected. I had a friend that was kind of connected in the community, and I got connected with a really good team of people, surgeons, oncologists, Reconstruction, the whole thing. And they set out, my course of treatment. So I had right away, I started with 6 rounds of chemotherapy. So it was every 21 days I went in, and I was taking 4 different chemo drugs,
Wow.
which I also didn't know. It's been an education in that. I just thought I thought chemotherapy was chemotherapy. I didn't realize how tailored it was
Right.
for every individual.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, and four different types of chemo. Wow. I mean, I know for me, I had two, and the most common ones that you hear about, especially with triple negative, is adriamycin, Cytoxan, and Taxol, and they call it AC and then Taxol. Um, are those some of what you had? Do you recall?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all of the names now. Taxol or Toxafen was one of them.
Tamoxifen?
Herceptin was one.
Yeah,
Yeah, Herceptin was one that I had to stay on actually for a year.
right.
And then there were two others that were like the nastier ones that had some more significant side effects that I only had to do 6 rounds of.
Well, and speaking of side effects, I mean, there's a lot of weird ones. You know, we talk about them a few times on the show. That like for me, I had a time where like the skin on my feet just kind of like peeled off, and it was so weird. And then like my fingernails changed color. They kind of went from brown at the bottom up, and then through chemo, they were kind of not brown, but like a light brown. And then after chemo stopped, they kind of grew back to the original color. Just a lot of like really strange side effects that people don't really talk about. What were some of the side
Yeah.
effects that you experienced?
I mean, I experienced. I didn't have any of those stranger ones like that. I definitely went through the hair loss and being ill, trying to control all of that with medications. I also thought that it would happen right away. I didn't realize that it was a accumulatory type thing. So for the first couple of rounds, I didn't really notice it actually. Right, I'd had my third treatment. I went in on Fridays for the treatment, and I remember I did my third round of treatment, and then I actually went and played a show that night.
Oh my gosh.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Holy crap. I mean, I didn't even think about playing a show until like it was probably 6 months after I was diagnosed. I don't think I played a show until May. I think it was May, early May. So it was April, or I'm sorry, August or October through May before I played a show. That's crazy. Wow, weren't you exhausted?
Yeah, I was exhausted, but we had because I played roller derby too, so my band had agreed to come and play the roller derby bout like long before I had been diagnosed, and I was like, I'm not, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna roller derby up, and I'm gonna do it. So I put on my wig because I was bald at that point,
Uh-huh.
and put on my makeup and went in and did it. I don't know how, but I did.
Wow, dude. So did you roller derby and play drums or just one?
No, being on skates with chemotherapy was not a great
I
combination.
wouldn't think so. I was about to be overly impressed. I was like, dude, hold on. Did you say that you roller derbied? I know that I've got a friend who is going through breast cancer right now, who you've met, Amy. You've met her through our survivor group. She's a freaking rock star, and she's a roller derby chick. And I've seen that she's done some skating at least recently. And I know that she's staying really involved. And again, to Dr. Joyce O'Shaughnessy's point, staying active and keeping up with exercise is always great. But that's amazing that you played drums during chemo. I can't imagine that must have been tiring. So after that point in time, did you continue playing shows throughout your chemo, or did you kind of take a break?
I had to take a break from the shows. At the time, we were trying to record an album, so I was really trying to push to get through that. And then it just got to a point where I couldn't. I finally had to. By round 5, it was starting to take its toll on me. I was still working, so I had to kind of pick and choose and conserve and do what I could do. But I fought through most of the chemo, and then had the I had a double mastectomy after that.
Yeah, yeah. And did you do Reconstruction?
I did. So I went through the double mastectomy, and then they put expanders in,
Right.
and I had to go through 6 weeks of radiation. And then after the radiation was complete, I was able to do the reconstruction.
Wow. And how often are you seeing an oncologist now?
I still go. I'm 2.5 years out. Yay, 2.5 years clean.
Woohoo.
And I still go in. Woohoo! I still go in every 6 months.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. And another thing that I always like to ask, and I know that we've talked about it before, but if you would share with this new audience of people watching Drummathon 2020 right now today, let everybody know, what is something positive that you got from going through breast cancer?
Um, yeah, I feel like I actually got a lot of positive out of breast cancer. I think I came out of it a better person. Um, and I think primarily because I had a really good support team, and I was just so loved from so many people. that helped me get through it. Learning how to ask for help was a big thing. And I think the biggest thing for me was learning how to pay attention to the things in life that really matter, because they can be gone in a blink of an eye.
Mm, amen. It does give you a lot of perspective going through breast cancer for
Hmm.
sure. And I'm really thankful you were able to join Kat today. Sorry it's such a short interview today. We've got 13 guests today, so I'm trying to stay on task with our time. And I wish we could have got you on a little sooner. Sorry for the technical difficulties there at the top, but I'm really glad you were able to join in with your freaking cool rockin' hair, dude. You look killer. Like, is it
Thanks.
shaved on the
Rock the
side?
pig.
That looks awesome,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it's shaved. It's
Oh
shaved all the way
man.
around up the sides.
Oh, that's
It kind of
so
acts like
rock star.
Velcro.
Dude, that's awesome. You're like, oh, I need to save this. I'll just put it right here. Whatever it is, I'm going to save that on the side of my head.
Yeah, my
Really
hair came
awesome.
back with a vengeance.
That's
So
killer, man. It looks great. But thank you so much. And I hope you'll join us again on the Beat broadcast, and we'll get to talk some more and get a little bit more in depth into your journey through breast cancer. And keep drumming, keep rocking out, man. And I hope to see you real soon, okay?
awesome. Thanks for having me.
Take care, Kat. Love you, girl.
All right, you too. Bye.
Awesome, man. That is Kat, man. She's amazing. She's a rock star.